Hey guys, it's Candace.
And it's Elena.
And you're listening to Cousins on Crime. Back again. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
I like your shirt.
Thanks. Do you like the cowboy hat?
It's very Texan. When my in-laws were here, they were very Texan. They had their cowboy hats.
They did?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, my sister-in-law had this like cow print top and a jean skirt. And yeah, they were doing it. They were doing the whole thing.
She fit in. That's
great.
Yeah,
for sure.
Did y'all go to like the stockyards?
Oh boy, did we.
You had to have.
We went to the stockyards. We watched the cattle drive.
Heck yeah.
The girls sat on a longhorn. We did all the stuff.
See, I love that because, living here, we don't really do the touristy things. Mm-hmm. So now that you have company coming.
I did try to take them to a honky tonk.
Oh, really?
But they wouldn't go.
Why?
I don't know. But my mother-in-law and other sister-in-law are coming in November.
Yeah.
And I know they'll go to a honky tonk with me.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. But I'll show them some of the Fort Worth nightlife.
Okay.
But
yeah, do some line dancing and
we took them to Texas Pit. We took them to Terry Black's.
Okay.
Because I was like, you have to have the best barbecue in Texas. But the thing with Terry Black's is, it is like the best barbecue, but it's very chaotic.
Yeah.
The environment's like, whoa.
Yeah.
There was like a discrepancy with what we got and what we paid for it. I don't know.
Oh, no.
I don't know. It was just weird and it wasn't a great experience. Then we took them to Texas Pit and they're like, now this is what I'm talking about.
This is it.
Okay. So...
That's what they were waiting for.
Daniel was like, I should have trusted my instincts and just taken them to Texas Pit. Texas Pit is great.
Well, yeah. At least they got to see that not all barbecue is the same.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And they liked the barbecue better at Texas Pit.
Of course they did.
And
with the okra, tell me they had okra.
They did not have okra.
That's sad.
I don't even remember what sides they had. I was so just excited about my food that I was like, every man for himself.
Yeah. Corn nuggets.
Didn't get corn nuggets.
I don't even know who y'all are.
I know. I did get the girls' chicken delights, which I was like, I'm always torn between the chicken delights and the brisket.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever get their Frito pie?
No, because I don't eat ground beef.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Man, that is like some greasy
stuff. I have to ask you this.
Okay.
Daniel was like, do you remember this place opening? And I said, no. And he said it opened in 2001 or something like that.
The Pit. Okay.
But wasn't it something? It was something before that.
It was something before that.
Because I remember getting like the Montex.
Yeah.
It was like the hot dog bun with all the brisket in it, with beans and sauce on top.
You're making me so hungry. Yes, it was something else, but we always called it just the Smiley Face Barbecue place.
Yeah, we've got to look into that because we're going to see the name and it's going to click.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was Dickie's. It wasn't Dickie's.
No.
Dickie's, please don't go to... I probably shouldn't say this on here.
If you want Texas barbecue, that's not the place
Don't
for you.
go to Dickie's for your first time for barbecue, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, if you're in Fort Worth and you can make it to Texas Pit, go there.
Yes.
But
good advice from Candace.
Yes. So, just an expert on barbecue.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you who makes really good barbecue. That's my husband.
That's right. And my brother.
Yes.
We got some barbecuers in the family.
That's right. We're from Texas, y'all.
We need to make our own restaurant.
Don't tell Chris that because he will open up that restaurant. He's talked about it. At least a food truck. You know, that's the big thing right now is food trucks.
Man, I would give anything to have a good barbecue food truck around here where I could just whip in, grab something. You know, it's going to be high quality, delicious, but then I can hightail it out of there.
Yeah. Exactly.
And go eat in bed. As I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm probably going to have barbecue for dinner. So.
Well, good for you. I think you should.
But you know how creepy the Texas Pit drive-thru is?
It's very you don't know if your car's actually going to fit through it.
But also there's no escape route.
If
there's someone in front of you.
You're not getting out of there.
And someone behind you. That's it. And there's a fence.
And you can barely open your door.
Right. And you're between the wall of the building and there's a fence on the other side. And so
what do you do?
If you're being attacked, I mean, just have a box cutter. Is
there room for someone to attack you? I don't think there's even room for that.
Yeah. They would have to really think about that.
You know, I mean, this is what true crime minds think about.
And I do think about that every time I'm in that drive-thru. I'm like, I have no way out right now.
No way. It's very small.
Yeah. So I'm always, my feelers are always up every time I'm in that drive-thru. Anyway, enough about barbecue. Would you like to hear the case that I researched this week?
I really want to hear it.
So, as you know, my brother-in-law was here and he's the one that said true crime freaks him out. And so I was thinking of, cases. I was like, well, you could check out this case. I said, I'll send you some of the cases that we've done that aren't too brutal. And he said, did you hear about the Chillenden murders in Kent? I said, no. And so he's kind of telling me about it. And he's like, yeah, it was weird because the person who's serving time for it, there's something weird going on there. I'm not really sure.
Oh.
And so I started looking into it.
You're like, let me see.
I was like, this is not okay. So I got very invested in the story. I dug in real deep and I'm here to tell you the story.
Ooh.
So Sean Russell arrived home from work a bit after 7 p.m., fully expecting a home full of chatter and, that pre-bedtime chaos that so many of us are accustomed to. It was Tuesday, July 9th, 1996. And summer holiday was approaching for his young girls, Megan, who was 6 years old, and Josie, 9. This is England, so their school term goes a little longer than ours. So they were still in school this time. They'd attended a swimming gala because you can't call it a swimming meet. This is England.
Oh, right.
It's a swimming gala.
Okay.
They went with their school that day, and their mom, 45-year-old Lynn Russell, should have picked them up and returned home by now, but the house was silent. The family dog Lucy wasn't even waiting at the door to greet him.
Lucy.
Yeah. After a quick sweep of the home, calling out to Lynn and his daughters, he thought it was strange that they hadn't returned home yet. There's no cell phones. They weren't they were existent, but they weren't a household item in the UK in 1996. So calling and checking on his family was not an option. Back in those days, you just waited.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what he did. Maybe they got hung up speaking with a friend, or maybe they all went around to someone's house for a cup of tea after she picked up the girls. But when 9 p.m. rolls around, that uncomfortable feeling he'd felt since he walked in the door was just too much to sit with at this point. So he got in the car and he started driving around looking for the women. He drove the rural nearby streets and he was hoping to catch a glimpse of whatever he could in his headlights. But without the luxury of streetlights in their area, he couldn't see a thing.
Oh my goodness.
So he went home and he called the police to report his family missing. Police arrived at the Russell home around 10:30 p.m. and began an investigation. They had every reason to be as concerned as Sean was at this point because there were children involved. It didn't take investigators long to locate the missing mother and her children, but what they found would shock the community and lead to decades of unanswered questions. Now, as far as the Russell family goes, their background, I wasn't able to find a ton. I wanted to reach out to one of the children. But I decided not to do that. Sometimes I'll reach out to the family. If they don't respond, I don't pursue it any further. But I just felt like she had done other interviews, and I'll talk about her in a little bit, but she'd done other interviews, and I just felt like she's had to talk about it enough.
Yeah.
I really wanted to just get to know her family, not really talk about the crime at all. I just wanted to talk about her mom and her sister. So Sean and Lynn Russell, they had lived in South Africa for about 15 years. Their oldest daughter, Josie, was born there. Next, they spent 2 years in Namibia, where Megan was born before they moved to North Wales.
Well, my goodness, that's like they're living life.
Yeah. And they're a very learned family. It was actually Dr. Sean Russell and Dr. Lynn Russell.
Okay.
They lived in this beautiful area, Kent, England, where my husband's from, but they lived in Chillenden, which is near Canterbury. They had just moved to the area from North Wales a few months prior to this. Dr. Sean Russell was lecturing at Kent University, and Dr. Lynn Russell was actually a geologist. I didn't see if she was working at the time or if she was, there could have been, because she's an academic, there could have been 100 things she was doing the time. And being in the classroom or teaching may not have been what she was doing at that time, but I wasn't able to find much more information. But police began their search with the route that Lynn would have taken to get the girls. It was a rural area. There wasn't many more places to go. I mean, there wasn't a ton of houses in the area. So police started with that route Lynn would have taken to get the girls through the fields, and that's where they found the bodies around midnight.
Oh my gosh.
The bodies were still no signs of life. And after cordoning off the area, one of the officers noticed that one of the children was still breathing.
What?
Yes. He scooped her up and began screaming for others that he needed medical assistance.
Oh,
I mean,
man. He'd
left her alone there for about an hour. When they were roping off the scene, he thought everyone was dead.
Yeah.
Everyone thought that all three of them were dead. And the family dog was also killed.
No.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, this is so sad.
So they're setting up a perimeter, securing the scene, and then he gets close enough to see that she's breathing. So he feels this undeniable sense of responsibility to get her help immediately. Now, she arrived at the hospital. There were extensive head wounds, and they immediately got her into surgery and began trying to save her life.
Wow.
Police back at the scene had been looking for evidence for hours after they found the bodies at midnight. When dawn broke, a key witness came forward around 8:30 saying that she saw a man standing near a beige car with the trunk open. And when she looked again, the car was gone, but there was like a pile of something on the ground. When she approached, there was a couple of bags and some bloody towels.
Oh.
It was the girls' swimming bags and their swimming towels. So it's pretty easy to identify that it belonged to the victims.
So they found the pile that this witness was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess when light broke, she came forward. I'm not sure if she saw the car in the dark or if she saw the car in the daytime, like suggesting that the killer must have been there that whole time.
Okay. Wow.
It was unclear in the research material. Now, we often talk about the dynamics of an outdoor crime scene and just how much investigators have to contend with. Mm-hmm. Sorry for beating a dead horse. There was brush, tall grass, multiple species of plants growing wildly, concealing evidence and making the search for answers painstaking. I mean, what's evidence? Is this cigarette butt? Does that matter? Was that discarded 2 years ago? You know, like it's difficult also to make sense of the blood patterns given the fact that the wind is blowing, the foliage is moving. And as one of the investigators mentioned in this True Crime Central documentary, the ivy had changed positions following the sun throughout the day.
Oh, wow.
So he said even the behavior of the plants is interfering with their investigation.
Definitely something that you don't think about in the moment, but that definitely does happen.
Yeah. So they could appreciate 4 large pools of blood on the ground, which made them believe that the bodies had been moved at some point. Okay. They found the dog. They found the 3 victims, the 3 human victims. They found a bootlace in the grass about 130 feet away, which appeared to be a ligature that had been used on one of the victims. And that was a really important piece of evidence that they collected. Mm-hmm. Probably the most important, and we'll get to why.
Seems like it would have a lot of DNA on it.
Feels like it.
But we can talk about that when you're ready.
Mm-hmm. Now, police hit the airwaves. As you said last week, you know, you were talking about them sharing the pictures and just throwing it all out there. Mm-hmm. The police are at the crime scene. The media is there filming, and the police say, look, we're asking anyone to come forward. Do you know who was in this area? You know, was someone out real late last night? You know, and they're just throwing it out there, immediately trying to get in front of it. Anyone who'd maybe walked through the fields or been to the school, seen the women at any point that afternoon, or seen anything out of the ordinary. Now, this is a very rural area, and there's a lot of fields around, so they were cutting through the fields to get to the school.
Oh, okay. Like on the daily.
Yeah. I mean, to walk the girls to school. It was about a 20-minute walk.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so they cut through the fields. I mean, obviously this is someone's property, but it's just kind of something you do.
Okay.
So maybe someone saw them walking through the fields that day. Maybe someone saw her pick the girls up from school.
Right.
And something was said, maybe giving an indication. Like, who knows? A wider search of the area turned up blood droplets, which eventually matched Lynn. They surmised that it could have been her blood that was either dripping from the murder weapon or maybe her head as she tried to flee danger. It looked like whatever happened, that the attack started one place and spread out, if you can imagine. Like they're running from this person.
Right.
He's chasing them down. Okay. Yeah. So the day of the murder, what we do know is that Megan and Josie had attended that swimming gala with their primary school in Goodston and had returned back to the school around 4 p.m. So Lynn walked through the fields with the family dog like she always did to pick up the girls from school. She met the girls at the front gates, and with all their bags in tow, towels, you know, the 4 ladies, I'm including the dog here, set off home. The walk from the school, like I said, was about a 20-minute walk or so. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe in the heat of the summer, maybe you're dragging a little bit. Yeah. But they're cutting through the fields, and about at the halfway mark, at the end of one of the fields, there was a metal gate. So it separated the field, this particular field, from Cherry Garden Lane.
Okay.
At which time they would, you know, pass through the gate, get on the lane, and walk the rest of the way home. This is where they were met with a waking nightmare. It's difficult to know just exactly what occurred and how between 4:15 at midnight when they were found, but we do have a survivor in this story.
Wow.
So we will hear from her at trial.
Yes. Okay.
So on the evening of July 10th, the day after the women were found, it was determined at autopsy that just like Josie, Lynn and Megan suffered multiple blows to the head with a blunt object. And judging by the wound patterns, a hammer was thought to be the murder weapon.
What in the world?
Yes, brutal. Months into the investigation, the case had cooled off with no new evidence, no other witness reports. Detectives were kind of just left reading and rereading their case file. I mean, what do? Stare at the crime scene photos and go, gosh, is there something I'm missing here? Going back to these witnesses and re-interviewing them. Now, after a year had gone by, Josie Russell, who was now 10, not only survived the bludgeoning attack that her mother and sister didn't, but she was making a miraculous recovery.
That is amazing.
Yes. Doctors assumed that she would basically, when they got her, they thought if she survives this, she will have impairments for the rest of her life. But that little girl was like, nah.
Wow.
I'm living.
Yeah.
And she flourished. So for police, they don't only have a surviving witness, but now because she's doing so well, they feel like they might get some useful information from her.
Right.
I mean, they were happy to hear she was doing well and they were so happy, but they thought, wow, she could hold the key.
Right.
Josie had lost certain parts of her brain in the surgeries. They had to try and save her life. So they had to remove parts of her brain that were destroyed.
Damaged. Oh.
And she had skull fractures. She wasn't able to speak for 9 months and had to undergo multiple surgeries and extensive therapy. So questioning any child witness to a crime is always a very sensitive endeavor. So on a large table, they developed this model of the area where the attack took place, along with little dolls representing her mom, her sister, and her, and the unknown assailant. So they're trying to get her to show them where everybody was standing, where exactly on the path the attack started.
And you don't know, like, if this is going to be even more traumatizing.
Yeah.
To bring this model in there and let her see it all over again.
I know. It's so tough. I think she was on the mend enough to talk to them.
Okay.
But is that how she wants to use her time? She's just now getting better. She's just now getting her speech back. And,
right.
Or
does she have it in her mind that, like, I can help?
Right. Yeah. There could have been a little bit of that too, that she was saying, no, I want to help if I can, or I want to see if it can jog my memory. Sadly, after the interview, they were still worlds away from knowing who'd done this. She didn't remember who she saw. I mean, She remembered bits and pieces. She gave that information to the police. And along with the witness account of seeing the man by the beige car, they had developed an EFIT, which is an electronic facial identification technique of this man. So it's like a profile. It's almost like, it kind of looks like a Parabon profile almost.
Okay.
So computer generated. But the family had no known enemies. Like, Lynn was not having an affair. She wasn't into anything shady. There was absolutely nothing going on with Sean that would have suggested. There was just no link between this family and a motive,
Right.
So this likely terrified everyone even more. I mean, because without that link, we might be looking at a stranger having done this.
Yeah. Just a random attack of someone that could come back and do it.
Yeah. And that means everybody's at risk, right?
Right.
It doesn't narrow the suspect pool. It pretty much includes everybody in the suspect pool, right? It widens the suspect pool. So the BBC aired an episode of Crime Watch around the anniversary of the murders, putting together a reconstruction of this rural area, which at the time was not something they had really done. So it gave everyone a really great visual of the path, the crime scene. And they also published this EFIT profile of the man. I'll post a picture of the rendering, but it was a blonde-haired man with a really round face. And pretty soon, police were given a name. A psychiatrist phoned the police to tell them she'd just seen her patient, Michael Stone, days before the killings, and she was concerned about his mental state. Apparently, at that meeting, he had threatened to kill his probation officer and his family.
Oh.
So at the time, it wasn't enough to remand him into custody, but now the timing seemed too coincidental to ignore.
For sure.
She's like, come to think of it, that looks like Michael. And I remember meeting with him on that day. And so she's kind of putting everything together. According to a publication in the National Library of Medicine, a scientific journal, in 1994, Michael was detained under the Mental Health Act, but was cleared by doctors and released. Now, that publication reports that they didn't think he was dangerous, and they didn't even think he was mentally ill at the time.
What? Okay,
yeah.
But his therapist thought so.
Well, between 1995 and 1996, he was actually on probation for heroin possession and use.
Oh.
And so he was required to continue meeting with the social workers and the mental health care workers. But again, despite these red flags and the fact that he was saying things, they deemed him not a danger to himself or others. And later we hear that report is not correct.
Oh.
But at this time,
okay,
this is what we're working with.
Of course.
So police were stoked because they finally have a person of interest. I mean, this is so much further than they have been this whole time. But with no ties to this family, they hired a criminal profiler to be like, okay, let's lay out the characteristics of the killer and see if this guy fits. They didn't want to just jump to the first and only person that they're getting here.
I can appreciate that.
They want the truth.
Right.
So the profile that this guy generated seemed to fit Michael Stone. Finally, after over a year of fear and frustration, the public was relieved when Michael Stone was arrested.
Okay.
I see your face. And that's what my face looked like when I was reading this. So let me tell you a little bit about Michael. He had lived in the Medway region of Kent. Prior to the 1980s, it was actually an affluent area because it was near a waterway. But by the 1990s, it had really turned into a hotbed of drugs, crime, and a significant percentage of the residents were unemployed. People are stealing, trying to get money. It was a very corrupt area of town. Michael had grown up in a really chaotic family environment, likely experiencing domestic violence, and began his criminal career very young. Robberies, assaults, in and out of, the social and mental health care services for 20 years.
Jeez.
So he had to have started his mischievous behavior at 10 or younger. His first violent crime was an attack on a man where Michael used a mallet to beat this guy.
Okay, well, that sounds like the MO.
Right. It's a pretty eye-opening similarity to the murders of Lynn and Megan Russell and Lucy. May she rest.
Yeah.
Now, police question Michael, and of course he denies any involvement in the crime. He's like, no, didn't do it, wasn't there, never been there, don't know anything. Authorities learned that Michael reported to his healthcare professional that he had spent about 100 pounds a day on heroin and cocaine in 1996.
Oh, man.
Must be nice.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, I wish I had 100 pounds a day to spend at Home Goods.
Right.
How did he afford that?
I know.
Stealing.
That's how you do it.
Well, so not only did he have a propensity to violence, they're thinking this drug use exacerbated his violence. And in terms of evidence, authorities had nothing more than a violent criminal. They couldn't really charge him with the murders. So had they had arrested him on his other, tomfoolery, but they couldn't ignore that this was the only suspect they had. And he was looking like their guy. I mean, he was very violent. They couldn't get past it.
Right.
Then the police get a break. While being held in Canterbury prison, an inmate named Damien Daly comes forward claiming that Michael confessed to killing Lynn and Megan Russell.
Confessed
to him. Now, Michael was in a segregated cell, but Damien told prison officials that he and Michael had been communicating through the pipes, as you do in prison.
Right. I've heard of this happening.
You got any bread left over there? That's what I'd be saying. Bread. And Michael had told him all about the crime through the pipes. That does it. That is enough for a couple murder charges, right? So they were able to charge him with murder. So the murder trial of Michael Stone began in October of 1998, and it took place at Maidstone Crown Court. The prosecution's star witness was Michael's prison mate, Damien Daly. He told the jury how Michael had confessed to the crimes. Well, by the time the case saw a courtroom, 2 more prisoners had come forward and made their own statements, which appeared to substantiate Damien Daly's story. In addition to the prison informants, the prosecution told the court how Michael had lied about knowing the area. Oh, he's a liar, guys. Of course he did it. So Michael claimed to have never been in the area. Didn't know anything about it, but Michael actually spent time at a children's home in that area. Not only that, but one of Michael's friends came forward saying that he remembers driving around Chillenden looking for something to steal. And they did end up stealing a lawnmower from one of the outbuildings on someone's farm out there.
Oh, okay.
So, liar, liar, pants on fire. Mm-hmm. You have been there. And actually, the friend says that while he's driving, Michael was showing him where to go.
Oh. So he does know the area.
So he does know the area.
Okay.
So Michael also lied about possessing a hammer. They found one in his car. Still didn't link him to the crime, but he lied about the hammer. So a couple prosecution witnesses told the court that they saw Michael July 10th, so the day after the murders, with blood on his clothing. But the defense was able to rebut that by pointing out the fact that Michael was attending his mental health appointments that day, and none of the clinicians reported seeing blood on his clothing. Both can be true.
Yes.
Now, Josie Russell bravely took the stand. She would have been 12 by now. She recounted what she could remember of the day she was attacked and her beloved mother and precious little sister were brutally murdered. The courtroom hung on her every word, and the reality of this crime materialized in front of everyone as she told the courtroom how she and her family were attacked. It became so much about the lack of evidence in this trial and in the media that it got lost on everyone what happened. This 6-year-old child, her mother, and this 9-year-old child were beat in the head with a hammer.
Yeah. And for what?
For what?
For what? We don't even know yet.
Exactly. So Josie said while they were walking home, they saw a car parked along the lane. Again, when we go back to the physical evidence that was there, the blood, this supports her account of the attack starting at the lane. Okay. So when they cross through that gate and they start walking along the lane, they see this car parked there. And they're walking. They're just going to walk past this car. The man exits the car and reaches inside and grabs a hammer. And he holds up the hammer and he demanded money from Dr. Lynn Russell. And she said, I don't have any money on me. I'm headed home. If you come with us, I've got money at home. I'll give it to you. Well, he didn't like that.
Oh.
And he starts swinging.
Oh my gosh.
Just then, Lynn tells Josie to run.
Oh.
There was apparently like a driveway nearby.
Oh my gosh.
A home that she could see. And so she's telling Josie to run to that house. Josie takes off. She ran her little legs off.
Oh my gosh.
And she did manage to get about halfway up that driveway before being hit in the head and dragged back to where her mother and sister were now tied up. This monster had used Lynn's own shoelaces to bind her wrists and ankles. Josie's swimming towel was ripped into strips and used as blindfolds and bindings. And Josie was blindfolded and tied to a tree before she heard her mother scream, "Stop, no." Josie was able to stand up, still being tied to the tree, and scream at the man, begging him to stop.
Oh, Jesus.
That's when she was struck in the head and lost consciousness. So she had already been hit how many ever times, she wasn't sure. But at this point, she lost consciousness. Her little sister and family dog were next. So it's horrifying that she heard her mother being killed.
Right.
I just have to see a silver lining and say, thank the Lord Jesus, she didn't hear her little sister being killed.
Right. Oh my Lord, this is so tough.
Yeah. But Josie was not able to identify Michael Stone as being the attacker.
Okay.
And I have to say that that's quite mature. I mean, she's 10 or 11 and she's looking at this picture saying, I can't say for sure.
When all these other people are so certain that he's the one, but she's like, they're probably like,
yeah,
he's the one. And she's like, no, but I can't say for sure.
And I just thought of this. What's with the blindfolds?
Right.
He knew he was going to kill these people anyway. What's with the blindfolds? You know?
Yeah.
Was that?
I don't know. To me, so that it all sounds like crime of opportunity. Like he just took the opportunity and was like, oh, I'll do this. And it was just like a fly by night.
Well, and the investigators referred to this attack as frenzied. It seemed like there was really no rhyme or reason as to what he did. And when you think about logistics, he had 3 people to contend with.
Exactly.
He's trying to get 3 people in one spot to do what he wants or bind them or whatever it was. And so that can't be easy being one person doing this.
Right.
So in addition to Josie not being able to identify Michael Stone, Jim Frazier, one of the forensic investigators that worked on the case, was not able to provide one modicum of forensic evidence linking Michael to the crime. I mean, he took the stand. He did his best to be a witness for the prosecution. But as far as, he's a forensic expert. He wants to sit up there and tell you what he found. But he couldn't provide direct evidence to Michael.
Wow.
Yeah. The defense did their best, not only to point out the lack of evidence against their client, but the evidence that excluded him. There were hairs found at the crime scene that did not belong to the 3 victims, or Lucy the dog, or Michael Stone. What's the motive as well? Like, Michael's history of violence really stemmed from his hair trigger temper. I mean, he would beat people up because he had been wronged or he was pissed off, or because he felt like he was trying to get revenge. He had never been calculated or sophisticated about any of his other crimes. So why this one? How had he gotten away with it for a whole entire year and not gotten caught? Oh, and how had he left not one single shred of evidence behind at the crime scene?
That's what's interesting, is that the crime scene didn't seem calculated and all.
It was a mess, wasn't it?
And
the towel being ripped up, the shoelaces being taken out. Every point of contact, him touching the shoe, pulling the laces out, he's leaving behind DNA. Absolutely. Everything he touches, ripping.
But yet there's nothing.
But there's nothing. So they're saying he doesn't leave a single piece, a droplet, a quintillion, bazillion of DNA on any of this stuff. Not a blade of grass, not any of the victims. Now, while DNA was still developing at the time, they were able to do direct comparisons at that time. But none of the DNA they collected was his. Mm-hmm. They had 2 male profiles. One was found to be Lynn's husband, which you could argue all day about that, but that is easily explainable.
Right.
But there was an unknown male profile on the victims. Who?
Right.
Who? Why? It doesn't match Michael. Also, jewelry was left on Lynn. So, robbery being the motive didn't feel like it fit.
I mean, if you're a thief.
Yeah.
And you're demanding someone give you money, like, you're not just going to leave just because they didn't give you money. You've stolen things before. Why wouldn't you steal a bracelet?
That's the thing. Yeah. Why wouldn't you steal anything that she had on her?
Right.
And one of the investigators was talking about the fact that he was an informant, actually, and they were paying him £50 per bit of information. So like they'd come to him and they'd be like, okay, tell us about, it was all low-hanging fruit. It was all like petty crimes that were being done in the area, and like, okay, so who stole that? Who vandalized that? And he would give them information. Huh. But they were talking about how this guy is a career criminal, addicted to heroin, cocaine, whatever it was. And he's going to take anything he can get.
For sure.
A nice jacket even.
Yeah.
And try and go sell that or pawn it off and get whatever kind of money he can. He's got a drug habit too.
100 pounds a day. I mean.
Right. So they're looking at the fact that Lynn still got jewelry on her, and the defense is saying he would have taken that. Doesn't make sense. Now, the defense also showed that Michael had been at a pawn shop around lunchtime in Chatham, about an hour away from the crime scene. And while you could argue that he would have had time to rush over to Chillenden and commit the crimes, why? Like, it was a rural area. What's he going there for? Is he going back to steal another lawnmower? I mean, but why is he rushing from Chatham to Chillenden? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why is he doing that? Motive was really difficult, and the defense did a really good job of showing why. Use your brains.
But at the same time, I mean, when you're high on drugs, you don't do things that make sense, and you are erratic, and I gotta get there. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Maybe he was in that kind of state of mind.
Could have been. We'll never know. Well, the jury came back.
Okay.
And they returned with a 10-2 vote for guilty.
Oh, wow.
And when the verdict was read, Michael jumped out of his seat.
Oh, wow.
And began hollering and carrying on about how he's innocent. They had to remove him from the courtroom. Now, relief settled over the loved ones of the Russell family, while others were a bit surprised by the verdict because the evidence against Michael wasn't there. They thought, how did they, like, I can't believe they convicted him. Now, before the proverbial dust could even settle, the day after the trial, the headline splashed all over the front page of the newspaper was, "I told a pack of lies."
No.
Remember those two other witnesses besides Damian Daly? The two other ones that had come forward saying, yeah, he confessed to us too.
Right.
Well, one of those witnesses, Barry Thomas, said, I lied.
That's not funny. Like,
it's not funny.
You're playing with someone's life here.
That's grounds for an appeal, my dude.
Right.
So appeal Michael did. and he won his appeal. He did.
Wow.
So he wins his appeal and his conviction was overturned in the blink of an eye. Now, the defense, of course, moved for Michael's immediate release, but that's not how it works. Just ask Alex Murdaugh, who's still sitting in prison.
Yeah.
The prosecution said, let's go again. You know, they retried Michael, and this time they went to Nottingham, which was over 100 miles from the original trial. They were hoping that with the time that had passed, new venue, that, you know, this high profile story and crime would have faded from the memories. And they were hoping for an unbiased jury. And it really was the case, because during voir dire, the jury I actually don't know what they call it in England, but jury selection, the jury didn't seem to remember these murders.
Oh, okay.
Shockingly. They didn't seem to remember the case in Nottingham.
Unless you're just
bunch
someone
of snooties over there.
Unless you're just someone who wants to be a part of the jury, and you're just going to lie and say you don't remember so that you can be a part of it, because I'm sure that does happen.
Perhaps. Now, September 2001, the same evidence was hauled into court. Same evidence was presented to the jury, except this time, those two additional witness testimonies, Barry and the other guy, they were actually excluded. Barry's for obvious reasons. The source material was not specific about the other guy. I'm going to assume he either recanted his statement because they were kind of almost a package deal, or it was just not excluded because they were a package deal. That much is unclear, but for whatever reason, you just had the one person now, Damian Daly, claiming that Michael Stone had confessed to the murders of Lynn and Megan Russell. Another novelty of this trial was that the defense wanted to prove that Damian Daly couldn't have had full-on conversations through the pipes in those cells. So the defense took the jury, the wig-haired people, whoever they are, whatever they call the bailiff, everyone comes down to Canterbury Prison. They had a sound expert sitting in what was Michael's old cell, reading a Harry Potter book. Isn't that the most English thing you've ever heard of?
I feel like this is so brilliant.
Be more British.
Yeah.
But then they had the jury go step inside Damian Daly's old cell and see if they could hear him.
Okay.
Well, they could hear him.
Oh.
That kind of backfired.
Oh. They should have tested that before.
Yeah, maybe give it a whirl, before dragging everyone down to Canterbury.
Yikes. Oh, okay.
And before this all goes on the record, because this is on the record.
Yeah.
I watched this documentary, which I'll link in the show notes. I think that if you like a deep dive, you'll really enjoy it. But in it, they explained that during the jury instructions for the second trial, the judge told them that their verdict weighed on one factor and one factor alone. And that was the testimony of Damian Daly.
What?
I found that to be wild.
And
I think in America that could have been grounds for an appeal.
Right.
That kind of jury instruction.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I don't think he should have worded it that way.
If I were a jury member, I would have been wondering why we even bothered with more than one day of trial. If all I'm expected to consider is whether or not I believed this convict over this convict, well, then we have a problem. What was all the other stuff about?
Yeah.
So
that's so weird.
But they go into the room. They deliberate for 11 hours. This jury didn't think that was a problem. They found Michael guilty again.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Okay.
They had even less evidence than the first trial.
Do we know what kind of car he drove?
Michael likely didn't have a vehicle.
Okay.
Nothing was ever said about what kind of vehicle he had. If you think about the fact that he's having his friend drive out there into the countryside to steal stuff, perhaps he was bumming a ride.
Right. Like
they never could tie him to this beige car.
Yeah. Like
there was no,
what car did the friend drive?
It was never mentioned. It was never mentioned. I feel like
that is a huge piece of evidence.
It is a huge piece of evidence.
If Josie can remember there was a vehicle and a man grabbed something out of the vehicle, that is so important to know. But
her recount, I don't believe she said what color the car was.
Regardless.
I could be wrong. Wow. The important thing is, what does that car have to do with anything with Michael?
Right.
So Michael appealed again in 2005.
Did he holler and scream? Did he jump out of his chair again?
Probably hollered and screamed, or just said, y'all are a bunch of dumb idiots, like the last jury. All the same feelings came flooding back to their respective parties. You know, there was relief for the victim's family. Whew, they've got him again. Okay. But the people who were surprised before were even more surprised. And they were all in the courtroom. They all heard everything the jury heard. And they still weren't convinced of Michael's guilt. Like I said, this jury had less to contend with than the first jury, and they still found him guilty. Now, Michael appealed his conviction in 2005. That was denied. So, what now? Mm-hmm. I guess we all just, thank our lucky stars that this guy is in prison, because whether he committed these murders or not, he's a lunatic, right? I mean, he's a dangerous individual, and he probably should be off the streets. But hold on, because Michael's conviction was very controversial. My heart, first and foremost, goes out to the victims because they have suffered enough, and now they have to live on the sidelines of this spectacle.
Yeah. Decades
of people arguing whether or not justice was served. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what's getting me is
they're like, this person was convicted twice.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Let us heal. Stop ripping the Band-Aid off. So the family was satisfied with the verdict.
Oh, okay.
They did believe he did it. So this was just opening old wounds, and my heart really hurts for them. Now, in 2011, Michael's legal team asked for permission to apply for a judicial review of his conviction with the Criminal Cases Review Commission, the CCRC, and that was not granted. So I guess you have to apply for this judicial review saying, hey, you need to look back into this case.
Okay.
Like, do a reinvestigation. So they applied for this, and the application was not granted. But in the interest of justice,
right?
Like, let's break it down. No DNA was recovered from the bootlace. I didn't say that before. They never recovered any DNA off the bootlace, yet the prosecution kept telling the jury that the bootlace was Michael's tourniquet for his drug use, and that's what he used to strangle Megan. So he used it for a tourniquet. So hang on a second. No skin cells, no saliva. If this is his tourniquet, you've got to imagine this guy tying it off with one hand.
It's absolutely going to have his DNA.
Probably grabbing one of the laces with his mouth.
Right.
And tightening it with the other hand. But no DNA is found on this bootlace at all.
Wow. What?
What? That's probably, and why I said the bootlace was probably the most important piece of evidence, because if that had anything to do with the crime, we have a problem there.
Right.
If that is what the prosecution says it was. Now, fast forward to 2014. Damian Daly. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
The star witness.
What about him?
The only reason Michael should have been convicted. Mm-hmm. He was sent to prison for life in the murder of a drug dealer named Gus Allman. Damian and one of his co-conspirators, Timothy Averill, stabbed Gus 7 times. Timothy Averill got life. There were 4 other people involved other than Timothy and Damian. So there's 6 people involved in this drug dealer's death.
Oh my Lord.
They all got jail time for their part in it. But Damian and Timothy were the masterminds, apparently. So now, the only testimony against Michael Stone is now from a convicted murderer.
Right.
This guy who went on to murder someone. Doesn't make it not true.
But someone who clearly has no regard for human life.
That's right. You must scrutinize now.
Right. Yeah.
You must go back, and the beige car was never found. Not only was it not linked to Michael in any way, shape, or form, it was never found. Michael's clothing was never seized and tested because at the time he was arrested, I mean, you're talking about a year out from the crime, they thought, well, too much time has passed. He's probably not got any clothes that he had back then or whatever. They just didn't seize his clothing. They didn't find evidentiary value in taking any of the clothing. The murder weapon was never found.
It's probably still in that beige car.
Right.
That we don't have.
Right. Or it got cleaned up and someone's using it like the Trinity killer in Dexter. Okay? And they're just using it.
Or that police officer in that axe that
right.
The case
he was like, this is a great bit of kit. I'm going to take this home and use it to chop firewood.
Yeah.
Another name starts coming up in the mix.
Okay.
Levi Belfield. He is a notorious British serial killer, currently serving a whole life term in prison for 3 murders, 1 attempted murder, and all the rapes that he carried out. Now, Levi has even confessed to murdering Lynn and Megan Russell.
What?
Over the years. So he was asked about it because his MO was women.
Okay.
Women.
So that makes sense.
All his violent crimes involved women. He raped women. He beat his girlfriends. He beat random women. He would just hit them and run off. He hated women. Now, when he was first asked about it, he denied it. But then...
So he was not in prison at the time?
He was. He was in prison.
But not at the time of the murders?
No, not at the time of the murders, no. When he started copping to it, he was in prison because they had him still and they keep going back to interview him about this.
Okay.
So Levi Belfield even wrote Michael Stone's attorney a 4-page account of the killings in 2022.
Pages? Like you're just going to sit down and write 4 pages of...
He wrote out what he did from start to finish, and it all seems to support the evidence that was found at the scene. Now, Levi Belfield also confessed to the murder of a woman named Elizabeth Chow, who went missing in 1999. Elizabeth Chow has never been found. According to reporting by The Guardian, the Met did not go check the area where he said he buried her body.
Why in the world not?
I mean, it's not hard. Tell me where.
Right.
And I'll go.
If you don't want to do it.
I'm not sure what the holdup is there. I don't know if they think he's playing with them. But just go check.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it takes a lot. I'm not stupid. I'm not a dummy. I know resources, manpower, blah, 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 blah. But if he's telling you where he buried her, just go get a shovel and and just start digging.
Sure.
I think I'll do it.
Yeah.
I volunteer. But there are issues with Levi fitting the circumstances of the crime. For starters, his girlfriend at the time said that July 9th was her birthday, like mine. Mm-hmm. So she knows exactly where Levi was on that very day in 1996. He was with her all day. Now, this woman does not defend Levi in many ways. She thinks he's scum. She fully believes he's responsible for all the murders he's been convicted of, all the rapes. She was interviewed for the documentary, and she talks about how he would go behind her house and walk along the alleyway and go from this road and to that road. And she knew he was doing weird things. In hindsight, now she knows what he was up to. She doesn't like him. She's not supporting him. But she says that she can unequivocally
something like that.
I didn't put it in my notes. I should have. But she knows that he was with her all day. They went to the horse stables. She had a riding lesson or whatever it was. She went to visit her horses. And when they got there, she said he had tied balloons to her stall where her horses were. So he had gone there before they went in the morning.
Huh.
So she's like, how would he have had time to go to the horse stable, come back, get me, come back to the horse stable? They go for lunch across the street. They come back to the horses. Then they go home, played with, she says, the baby. I don't know what that means.
Oh.
Whose baby? I don't know. Hopefully not hers and his.
Right.
But she says then they go out to dinner about 8:00, and they were together the whole day. She says there's nowhere he went. There's no way he could have gone anywhere. Couldn't have gone to Kent and back in that amount of time. And she says he's never had blonde hair. He's always had jet black hair.
Oh,
she said
that's different.
Yeah, she said in the interview that some people have said that he went blonde at one point or another, but she says, I can't remember that. I would have hated that if he would have dyed his hair blonde. Now, she's fully aware that he has
done bad
things, but also confessed to this crime. The murders of Lynn and Megan Russell. And she's like, I don't know what to tell you. I know what I know, and that's all I can say.
Yeah. I mean, to let him... we've heard of serial killers confessing to things that they didn't do just to take credit for something so gruesome. And maybe that's what he's doing here. And I appreciate her efforts in saying no, this isn't right, because
she's just telling the truth. What she believes to be the truth and what she can remember.
Yeah.
But it gets a little more serious than that, Lena.
Okay.
Because Levi's attorney said that he's ready and willing to cooperate with police, and he's just waiting on authorities to come get his DNA.
Okay, so go get his DNA.
According to an article by the BBC, which was published July 13th of this year, 2026, that was 2 weeks ago, maybe 2.5 weeks ago, they were going to get Levi Belfield's DNA sample.
So they're getting
it. Was on their to-do list. It's on their to-do list.
We just don't
There's
know.
no date set about when they're going to get it.
What are we waiting for?
Maybe they're waiting on a warrant, or there's paperwork involved. There's if it's going to hold up in court, you've got to do it all by the book. I don't know what the holdup is, but it's on their list of things to do.
I would say let's get that done.
Yeah, I say
that would stop all the...
Give me a Q-tip. I will go swab him myself. And
then
I will
help
go
you?
I will go get some more information about Elizabeth Chow, and I'll go try and find her remains.
Absolutely. I'll go right along with you.
Maybe they'll get to it when they get to it, because Michael's attorney said another witness named Ross Shields has come to him, claiming that he heard a man named Raymond Buck confess to the killings the day it happened.
Oh, for the love.
Ross said that he was a child at the time, but he overheard Raymond tell a family member, quote, "I've done something unforgivable. I've killed 3 people," end quote. Now, Raymond Buck is dead. He took his own life in 2000, but Ross Shields has apparently provided documentation to support his claims about this being true.
And what kind of car did he drive? Like,
yeah, I don't know. So it's funny you mentioned the car. Let me rewind a bit, because some of the investigators were pointing at the fact that Levi Bellfield's girlfriend drove a beige car. Well, in the interview, she said she never had a beige car. Her car was like a pearly cream color, like an ivory creamish pearly color.
Apples and oranges.
Tomato. When you think of in the bright sun, what a pearlescent type car might have, considering you're out in July, the grass is probably brown, and it's reflecting off this car. Sure. Maybe she thought it was beige.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So anyway, it still could be a link.
Oh,
still could be the link. But the publication about this new person of interest, Raymond Buck, this new witness, Ross Shields, that says he heard this confession when he was a child. This publication came out July 26th of this year, Elena, which was last week.
This is wild.
So it's really too early to tell what will happen with this lead. I mean, I couldn't believe, like, I started researching this case probably, I'm going to say July 19th, around there, when I started digging into it. And then I see that there was a publication from July 13th about the DNA. And I was like, whoa. That just happened.
Yeah.
I continue researching. And then July 26th, another publication comes out about the case that I'm researching.
Right.
With a new person of interest. My head was spinning.
After all these years.
After 30 some odd years. 30 years.
This is the weirdest case. Like, all these people that are saying, I don't know, all these accounts and all these lies, and who's telling the truth?
Why is Levi Bellfield? Why is he admitting he did this and saying, "Come take my DNA"? What does he want?
See, that's the thing. Like, it's one thing for a serial killer to say, "I did this. I murdered this person. I murdered this person," but to say, "Come and get me," like,
yeah. And also, they took a new sample from Michael Stone as well.
Okay,
so they've already collected that new sample from Michael Stone. Now all that's left to do is take the remaining evidence. Now they have a piece of the bootlace left. I'm assuming they cut a piece of it and did a consumptive test, which destroyed that bit of evidence, so that they have this little bit of evidence left in the bootlace. But if we go back a few years, his defense team reapplied for that judicial review in 2023. The CCRC. Mm-hmm. The application was not accepted. Now, the Justice Gap reported on July 6th of this year, Elena, that Michael's third application with the CCRC was accepted, likely because his attorney threatened high court action for taking their sweet time.
Well, yeah.
He pointed to the fact that the CCRC had their own issues in the past by not pursuing an investigation into a wrongful imprisonment of a man named Andrew Malkinson. He served 17 years for a rape that he did not commit, and he was cleared of. So they drug their feet with that case. They're dragging their feet now with Michael after all these years. And his attorney says, I'm going to take legal action against you.
Wow.
So now his case is being reviewed.
His attorney like really believes in him.
Yes.
And oh my
He
goodness.
does. A lot of people believe in him. Now, Michael Stone is now 66 years old. He's recently, like I said, provided authorities with another DNA sample. He still to this day maintains his innocence. What we have left as far as evidence, because you have to think after all these years, what did they keep? They had a convicted person, right?
Yeah.
They convicted him twice.
Right. How long do you keep evidence after
How long do you keep it? Well, they have a piece of the bootlace, and apparently they have some sticks. I don't know what they mean by sticks to bind the victims. I don't know if they're talking about like a garrote type of instrument, but they say that they retained some sticks from the crime scene. Now, there was a lunchbox found at the scene, believed to have contained a bloody fingerprint, but that was lost before trial.
What?
So, apparently they didn't even have that.
What? See, it's
hard.
It's the bootlace and the lack of evidence that gets me. I
understand that they had nothing else to go on. They had nobody else to look at.
You so bad want to have an answer for the family. I get that. But this is someone's life. And if he really did do it, then justice is served for the family. But if he didn't, like, this is just so sad. Like you said earlier, to open up those wounds again.
I don't want this guy on the street. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But as far as being convicted of these murders,
all these years later, maybe he could live in society and be a good human being. Has he learned from his mistakes of living this life of drugs and thievery?
Probably not. I'm just going to go with that simple answer. He has been living in isolation. He has requested to live in isolation, probably for fear of, if he's deemed a child killer,
right?
Prisoners, no matter what country you're in, don't take too kindly to that. So that's what's really tough about this case, because you have, and as I'm researching, another person has been brought, and it's way too early for me to even provide any information about this Raymond Buck character and what he would have had anything to, why was he there? Like, what makes you, like, what evidence did he provide?
Right.
What documentation could he have given? Receipts? I mean, like in the 1996, like what documentation could you have given to prove that he was there, did this thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's another wild. There's so many wild things about this case, but the fact that people are confessing to it, that are saying that I did it. You don't just say you murdered someone.
Right. And the person that's sitting in prison says he didn't do it. So
who do we believe?
I mean,
who do we believe?
It's just my opinion that they have no evidence against Michael Stone. He's a rotten apple. Don't get me wrong. He's a dangerous individual. Back then, he was beating people, hitting people. There was one stabbing. I mean, and he was telling everybody, apparently, at trial, this comes out now. Okay. At trial, this comes out that he was threatening everybody's life and he was a danger to society, but he was too dangerous to be at that hospital, too dangerous to be admitted. So he needed to be off the streets, but like they couldn't do anything about it.
Oh my gosh.
So don't get me wrong. He's a violent criminal. But this, I don't think, is his crime.
Wow.
But with all of that being said, let's talk about the victims. Lynn, beautiful Lynn, who walked through that sunny field, excited to pick up her girls from school and hear all about the swimming gala. Josie Russell, who was the only survivor of the attack on that hot July day, is just shy of 40 years old now.
Wow.
She and her father, Sean, moved back to North Wales, where she lives in her family home she grew up in. Now, I saw one report that she bought the family home, but I'm not sure if she bought it or if she rents it or whatever it is, but she lives in their family home that she grew up in.
I like that.
It was just a place that they had such beautiful memories all together.
Right.
She earned a degree in graphics, and she now works as a textile artist with an emphasis on reusing materials.
So she's creative.
Yeah, her art is inspired by the Welsh landscape, so the mountains, the countryside, and she honors that environment by using old clothing or clothing that she gets from charity shops.
Oh, I've got to go see this.
Yes, I'm going to link her website in the show notes. You can, look at the bags that she has, the cards,
That's so cool.
Yeah, so if you want to buy anything, or just look at her art, it's beautiful. Now, she spoke to the BBC back in 2023 and explained that she'd been really busy, like fulfilling commissions, and she attends fairs to sell her work, but she would love to do exhibitions. I found her on Facebook, and like I said, I didn't want to reach out to her.
Right.
She seems like she's thriving, doing amazing. She's engaged, and looking at a picture of her smiling face, she looks just like her mother. And considering this brutal attack that she survived, you would never know just by looking at her.
Yeah.
You don't see the injuries, the pain,
right,
the suffering, the recovery that she must have gone through. And I think that's such a gift.
Absolutely. What a strong woman.
Yeah.
A strong little girl, turned woman. Wow.
And all these years later, we're still talking about who really did it.
Yeah.
And it just breaks my heart because, I'm in the interest of justice. I want to know who, the truth. And there's probably a part of the family, that wants that too, that says,
right,
well, if he didn't do it, who did do it? And let's get him. But there's also probably a part that says, just leave us to heal. Yeah. Stop ripping off the Band-Aid.
That's the hard part. And, we talk about all the time, like you can't go back to get the evidence. Like,
I know
the little bit of evidence in this big area, this big crime scene, like really you couldn't get more. And we can scrutinize all we want. We weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't go back and get this stuff. And that's frustrating.
That's so frustrating.
But I love that you added that silver lining, and Josie's still here on earth and thriving, and her dad gets to have her still.
I know. And he lives nearby. He lives near her. So I just fantasize about her starting her own family and just, being able to create new memories in that home that will mingle and meld with the other memories she has of her mother and her sister in that home. And
yeah, that's so sweet.
How she might say, this was your Aunt Megan's bedroom, and, have the pictures around the house and honor them in that way.
Right.
So I thought that was beautiful. And she actually did a piece of art featuring her home.
Oh.
It wasn't on any, I really wanted that piece. So if she, she does these textile works, and then she takes those prints and puts them on bags or cards or whatever it is. She didn't have any of that home. on anything. So I was like, oh, I'm going to check back. If she does, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
Because I just loved that image of I'm back here, I'm back home where it all started, where I was with my family, and I'm still...
Life goes on.
Life goes on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's so sweet. Well, thank you for telling their stories.
I know that was a long one. Sorry,
it
guys.
was long, but wow, that's so interesting. It's frustrating, but
I'll keep an eye on any developments.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure you will update on our socials. So keep an eye out for what she finds out, guys.
Yes.
Because I'm interested.
Yes.
Well, that was great. Let's do it again sometime.
Let's do it.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for listening to Cousins on Crime. If you're enjoying the show, please rate and review wherever you listen, and consider joining our Patreon for bonus episodes every month.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook for case photos and to stay up to date with the latest C-on-C news. If you have a case suggestion or just want to tell us how cool we are, email us at cousinsoncrime@gmail.com.